Perek Mishna Tes. If you remember in Mishna Aleph of this Perek, Mishna Aleph, we learned that for an oven to be considered finished, and therefore makabel tumah, for the manufacturing of an oven to be done, and therefore it's susceptible to tumah, you need to coat the oven with a clay coating, so the oven can retain its heat. Then, after the coating, you have to fire up the oven so it's hot enough to bake those sponge cakes, the sufganin. You have to heat it up once to cure the oven, so that the clay hardens. And once that coating of clay hardens, so that the oven can retain its heat, the manufacturing is now done, and it's susceptible to tumah. Now, our Mishnah teaches us an exception to that rule. And in our Mishnah, we'll see that this oven doesn't even need that clay coating to be considered finished, for the manufacturing to be done. It doesn't need the clay coating. Because what happened was that the oven maker didn't make the standard one-piece oven. Rather, he gave you planks of clay, and you compacted those planks of clay together tightly, and you wrapped them around with clay rims. So this oven really looks like a barrel that they used to use for wine, because you had this oven, but it was made of planks. So you fit those planks together nice and tightly. And then you made these rims here on the top and at the bottom with some types of hoops or nails, which compacts it together extremely tightly. And now these planks are compacted together very, very securely. So since these planks are so tightly together and compacted through these rims and hoops, so therefore it's so compact and it can retain its heat even without that coating of clay. So now once you put it together and you heat it up to the point where it could bake those sponge cakes, it's makabel tumah even without the clay coating. So let's read it inside. Tanur, an oven, sheba mechutuch, that came in pieces, it came disassembled, mi beis ha'umen, from the house of the oven maker, ve'asa boy limudin, and you built for it supports, you built those rims to compact it together nice and tightly. V'nois non olav, and you put the rims on it. V'hu tahar, and it was tahar before you put those rims on. So there's a little bit of a hard read. V'hu tahar means it was tahar before you compacted it together. But then nitma, once you put it together and you assemble it and you put those rims on nitma, it's now susceptible to tumah. So then the Mishnah says like this: Silek es limudav, if you removed those rims, if you removed the supports, so now the walls aren't really connected together anymore, so it's considered broken, it's considered smashed. It's considered demolished, and therefore tahar. It's tahar once again, because it's demolished. Now the Mishnah tells us that even if you reassemble it, hechziron lo, even if you return those supports to it, and you reassemble it tahar, it's still tahar. It's still considered broken. Because the second time you assemble it, the second time you put on the rims, it's never as tight as the first time. And therefore, those planks won't be together tightly, and the hot air will just go through the cracks, and therefore it's still considered broken, even if you try to reassemble it. So how do you fix it? So the Mishnah says, mercho betit. So you just smear it with a coating of clay, and therefore it's makabel tumah. And now it's susceptible to tumah, because the clay coating tightens those planks together in place of the rim support. So the Mishnah says, ve'eno tzarech lahasikenu. You don't have to fire up the oven again to harden the clay coating. Shekavar husuk. Because those planks, the compacted clay planks, were already fired up, and those planks were already hardened. And those compact clay planks retain the heat really nicely. And the clay coating that you added in addition to that is not to retain the heat, it's just to fill up those holes in between those planks. And therefore, you don't have to harden the clay coating. Now it's your turn to read the Mishnah.